My name is Punit, and I am the application security pen tester at Cognisys Group. Now, my primary role is to test web application, mobile application, thick client, or it might be APIs. So that's my primary role at Cognisys.
Hi everyone, my name is Rajveer and I'm an application security consultant at Cognisys Group. My primary duties involve pen testing mobile applications, web applications, and APIs.
That's an excellent question, to be honest, because a lot of people ask me this question because the job itself appears very interesting. And when we are working in cybersecurity gives you a sense of superpower because at the end of the day, you are securing the internet. Whether I'm working on some application, web application, or thick client, the validation you get after compromising something is the real hook. So for me, working in cybersecurity is real fun, and that's my day looks like. I can speak a lot about this. Like it will take hours, but for this question, I think this is all I can say. Yeah.
For me, finding flaws in systems and application has been always a fascinating thing. And I enjoy understanding complex architecture and applications logic and then trying to break those logic and trying to identify the ways to bypass the restrictions. And my main duties involve finding loopholes in applications and then reporting it to the client, and which often mostly go unnoticed. And apart from that, I enjoy working at Cognisys because most of the time I get opportunity to pen test new applications and new technologies, so that's always fun for me.
I think over the past year, I have noticed a significant rise in, if I add supply chain attacks, where attackers target less secure element in a supply chain network to compromise the primary target. Also, there has been increase in attacks exploiting misconfiguration in cloud services. So, as we all know, businesses are keep migrating from offline presence to online, and they don't have the budget to hire security expertise, due to which a lot of cloud services are often overlooked and not properly configured. These type of attacks can have far-reaching consequences which have been ignored and are becoming more sophisticated. So I think, yeah, cloud services and supply chain are getting traction.
As Puneet mentioned about supply chain attacks, and apart from that, we have seen that lots of organizations are moving their infrastructure to cloud. So this increased the possibility of cloud misconfiguration issues such as S3 bucket misconfigurations and DNS related issues, and lots of other cloud misconfiguration issues.
Yeah, to be honest, developers should take care a lot of things, at least for common vulnerabilities or general vulnerabilities. Like if you ask me for upcoming threats, I would like to add supply chain attacks again. I myself coming from a developer background, and I know we rely a lot on open source components and third party libraries, but the problem lies here. A single vulnerability within those third party libraries can cascade through countless applications, and your application can be one of them, and that could turn them into a vulnerable application. So if we are using these third-party libraries, try to implement them securely, and read the documentation and be prepared for the attacks that will coming in upcoming future. When somebody find issues within those libraries, try to put an extra security layer above them that will resolve most of the stuff.
As Puneet mentioned, in recent time, we have observed the increase in application using open source libraries and third-party softwares. And since it's easy for developers to integrate these libraries, and it also takes off the burden from developers to create something from scratch. So it's really important for developers to follow best security practices and follow the documentations properly to avoid misconfigurations issues. And similarly, developers should also review their user permissions and access controls properly to avoid widely common access control issues like IDOR and privilege escalation.
Well, to be honest, there is no simple answer to this one. I personally think XSS will be there, and it will be continues to prevalent this year and upcoming years too, because the reason is simple. There is an increase in client-side frameworks. It is easy to identify and exploit. And there are a lot of other vulnerabilities which Rajveer would like to talk about.
So Punit already
Yeah.
mentioned the exercise, which is more favorite vulnerability of most of the hackers. And apart from exercise, we have already seen the rise in vulnerabilities like broken access controls and SSRF. So I personally think that due to the complex architecture of the applications and the different user roles, it's really hard for developers to focus on implementing proper access control checks on their web application. That's why attackers often find broken access control related issues such as IDOR and privilege escalation. And apart from that, due to the application is providing more facilities to integrating it with third party softwares and plugins, the SSRF risk is also there. So I would like to add SSRF and broken access controls. uh, these two along with XSS will definitely dominate this year and upcoming year.
Well, to be honest, I think AI is literally a threat to cyberspace. With advancements in AI and machine learning, we might see an increase in automated attacks, and that can adopt and evolve in response to any kind of defensive measures. So I think attacker might leverage AI and machine learning to automate these kind of attacks and refine their attacks actually. So this could be more like a kind of an intelligent bot that has capability to mimic new human behavior to bypass captchas, which is already being done honestly. So all these automated attack scenarios based on application logics can be done right now with AI. So I think AI has the potential for for being a threat to cyberspace, as AI will be used by threat actors and attackers to attack more smartly.
Apart from AI, we have already observed that lots of data breaches are happening, and phishing attacks are also increasing rapidly. And for an organization, most of their users' credentials and employees' credentials are already out there on the dark web. So actors can definitely leverage that in automating brute force attack to access their internal panels and internal documentation area and all that stuff. And by accessing the internal portals, attackers can definitely launch more devastating attacks towards their infrastructure.
I think SQL injection still exists, and yes, there are less SQL injections. The reason behind that is organizations are moving to NoSQL databases, and you're right. Now, every day we are finding access control issues. Yesterday we found an access control issues. Day before yesterday we found an access control issues. So there are access control issues. The reason behind that, I would like to say, there is a complexity, a lot of complexity, because a lot of organizations are using a hell lot of complexity in the hierarchy in terms of privileges. So I think that complexity, when you create this kind of complexity, you overlook something, and when you overlook something, you will miss a lot of stuff. And that's the reason we got a lot of access control issues nowadays. So I think developers and organizations should care about uh, access control in terms of like remove hell lot of complexity. Like for example, this kind of object should be accessible for this kind of user only. So make it straightforward, don't put a lot of complexity. So that's what I would like to say. Yeah.
SQL injections have been in the game since the very beginning, and it's not like that we have really stopped identifying SQL injection. We do identify lots of SQL injection, but yeah, definitely the number of SQL injection finding has been lowered during throughout the year. And the main issue behind that is like lots of the new technologies and framework already provide prevention measures for SQL injection attacks, and also organizations are moving to NoSQL database, so that's also a reason. And talking about broken access control issues, like I have already mentioned, that it's more of a dynamic and logical issue, so it's more likely for a developer to overlook the access control issues, and that's the only reason I believe. Implement a strong firewall for your web applications, and make sure that whenever you are integrating open source libraries or third party vendors, you follow the best practices. And also, if you are implementing some open source library, then make sure that you are using the latest version, and also monitor that repository if any new CVs are identified within that library. And lastly, monitor your application continuously for malicious activities.
I personally think the first and foremost thing an organization should do, and that is never trust any user input, and that's the best way you can put your security the foremost and improve your security. And the another thing, keep doing continuous pen testing, and that's what we do at here at Cognisys. Visit our website to book a pen test today.